Hi, I'm LaShena Recruiter Lena Matthews with Love What You Do, LLC.
I'm Duffie Dixon with Duffie Dixon Media.
And I'm Wynn with Hunter Recruitment Advisors. And today in our video, we're talking about video conferencing etiquette and all the rules that apply. The first thing we wanted to talk about, though, was the mute button, because that seems to be the biggest question that everybody has. Duffie, you've got a lot of good feedback about this. Do you mind sharing your thoughts?
Absolutely. So the mute button is something you should get very comfortable with because you're going to be asked to turn it on and off. So the etiquette is, if you're not the one speaking, it should be on. If you need to find it, you move your cursor around whatever app you're on. And if it says mute, hit it. And you should see a symbol that is like at the corner, everyone sees, you'll see the red. I'll do it myself. Now you can hear me again, right?
Yes.
Yeah, making sure. So that's what you want to do. And sometimes a host can mute everybody in the group. I would just say, be sure, always check your own. Sometimes you're not muted. You don't want to be the person coughing, sneezing, talking to, your spouse walking through the room. The other thing is, while you are muted, it's important to be an active listener. All of you are looking at the camera or the person who's talking. Feel free to give them a silent hand clap or a nod if you agree. It's really hard to talk to an empty room of people, looking off to one side or the other.
Duffie, one of the other things about muting too, if you have a laptop that you're using, you can often use the space bar to mute and unmute yourself. And so it's a lot easier than trying to circle around and trying to find the mouse and hitting the right part of that.
Perfect.
One of the other things that we talk to a lot of people about is just even timing. If you're leading a meeting, try to set the boundaries so that they don't run long. One of the things that we advise a lot of people to do is to have a stopwatch available. Most of you have phones that will have a stopwatch. You can let the audience know that, hey, this is when we're beginning, this is when we're ending. And for a lot of networking conversations, they'll even have one person who will hold up the stopwatch so that everybody will be able to see in unison how much time do we have. But sometimes you also need to be able to stop your video because you had to run out and talk to somebody while the entire group is meeting. LaShena, what are probably some of the best practices when it comes to stopping your own video?
That's such an important thing to think about when you're on video, because there are appropriate times that you need to come off video. You do not want to be carrying your laptop around while you go to the kitchen or while you go to the bathroom. See, there's Duffie. That is a big no-no. So if you need to step away, you can type a message in the chat if appropriate, depending on the meeting. And then you just take your video off. And then, and I know some of us here, we have some nice professional pictures like Duffie.
That's right. I finally got mine to work. So here we go. See if it pops up.
Okay.
Yay!
Yeah. Oh, it looks good.
So in that way, you're still present in the meeting. Your physical appearance is there, and then you can return to video when you return from taking care of the things that you need to do. And so that's on if you have to step away from the video. But what about drinking, eating, and chewing gum, Aaron?
Well, one of the things I always try to tell, especially candidates, this is not the time to have your lunch. This is not the time to have your mid-morning snack. You really should not. The last thing you want to do is just get caught and I'm talking to you.
I'm laughing. I laugh because this is Aaron's big pet peeve. We know this because he's been in meetings. He's like, who thinks this is okay?
I mean, the thing is, if you were standing face to face, and that's really how you have to look at this, you're standing face to face with somebody. Would you just take a big bite out of something if you were this far apart from each other? Obviously not.
Well, the big thing now is we're all talking about the big one we're thinking about is drinking now, right? So we've heard conflicting things about this. So at this moment, the thought is as the host, it's really great if you say off the top of whatever meeting it is, if it's a job interview or if it's just a social gathering or it's actually a business meeting, as the host say, hey, just so you know, I have water here. I have to present, so I'll be drinking this. If you guys have something, a beverage you need to drink, not a problem. That's okay. LaShena, I mean, you're the one you do job interviews all the time. what would you do if you were in person?
So in person, as the host of the interview, then I would say to the candidate, hey, before we get started, would you like a cup of water? That's just, making sure that everyone's feeling comfortable. So since we don't have that same in-person type of, feel to it, of course, because we're not in person, we still want to have that hospitality, right? So in that case, as you're starting the interview, you can say, hey, if you need to drink some water, feel free to go ahead and do that. Just make sure that you're using your common sense with that, of course. You don't want to continue drinking throughout the interview because that is distracting, but you want to make sure that you're keeping yourself hydrated so that you can perform at your best.
And then also, if you are drinking, be aware of what you're drinking out of. Like, this is a clean one. We all have the funny mug, don't we? Let's not bring it out at the meeting.
Since we're talking a little bit about kind of meeting host responsibilities and hiring manager responsibilities, one of the things that you really need to take in consideration is the length of time. Now we're moving into so many of these conversations. You have to realize there's only so long somebody can be on camera before it becomes so draining on them. Duffie, you've spent an entire career in front of the camera. What's some of the longest periods of time that you've been on, just even professionally?
Oh, well, that's not good, because if it's a hurricane where, I'm on for, hours after hours, we'll take breaks. But Zoom fatigue is a real thing. There are articles written about this. And even myself, as someone who's used to being on camera, I am exhausted after a day of meetings. I think I did 4 Zoom meetings in a day, and that was too many. So for those of you who are planning meetings, look, if it's an hour-long meeting, if it would be an hour-long meeting in person, make it 40, 45 minutes. You're really going to help people out. And don't schedule back-to-back ones. It's not fair to people. People are exhausted, and you're not going to get their best. And then you wonder why people aren't, no one's responding on it, because everyone's deer in the headlights.
That's the truth.
Well, go ahead.
No, I was going to say thank you guys so much for taking the time to look at all our videos. We're going to continue to do more videos, and we're looking for your suggestions. So please go ahead and give us those suggestions as we come out in the future weeks. And we look forward to speaking with you some more about Zoom videos and beyond.